14 days until the election. We go up now to Michigan, my wife's home state. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and I saw many of this man's ads running during football games I was watching. He is Mike Rogers, and he is running for Senate in Michigan. Mike, we appreciate you taking the time. Where are you in the state right now, and what are you seeing 2 weeks from Election Day?
So we're seeing tons of momentum. I'm in a town called Okemos, Michigan. We're having a bit of an event today with a large industry here and all their employees. And listen, we're just seeing a ton of momentum. People are starting to come home, and so that's why you see all the polls tightening. And they're starting to realize that the Democrats are just in kind of implosion mode. My opponent is now thought that Trump was the end of democracy, now talking about Trump in her campaign ads. It just tells you the direction that they're going and how far they'll go to say just about anything to get elected. And I think that is actually helping us amongst independents. We're doing well amongst black men in the state. We're doing well with Arab Muslims, and we are just killing it amongst auto workers because they know the Democrats have just nearly killed the auto industry here.
Mike, appreciate you being with us. I saw some polling data out yesterday that actually showed Arab Americans, I think it was in Michigan specifically, breaking for Trump by a pretty solid majority. Is that lining up with what you are seeing within the state? Because one would think that would have a lot of down ballot implications given how many Muslims live in Michigan.
Yeah, it's a very significant voting block. And what's significant about it in this case is that this is a voting block that was traditionally the Democrats just counted on. They didn't work very hard at it, and they automatically assumed that they would get the Arab Muslim vote here. And for a large part of it, they did. And so, those three coalitions I just talked about, Arab Muslims, their coalition falling apart, the Democrats. Same with auto workers. I know that the union leadership went one way, the members who actually build things in America coming our way. And same with black males. They are just kind of throwing up their hands saying, I've been doing this over and over and over again. They keep telling us they're for us, and nothing happens. And so we're going to do our traditional coalitions, and they are very strong. And the coalitions that normally vote for the Democrats are all fractured. Now you know why we're going to win in November.
Mike, you hit on something that I think is really important because it's happening not only in Michigan, but also Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. That is, Democrat Senate candidates there are putting Donald Trump in their ads and saying they're going to work with Trump. I'm betting you are not putting Kamala in your ads and saying you are going to work with Kamala. Isn't that a pretty good sign that she's not doing that well? That the Democrats want Trump in theirs, and I bet the only thing you'll have in Kamala in your ads is what a disaster she'll be.
Yeah, completely. I mean, if you look at the fact that people are having a hard time, paying for groceries, and some families are just telling me these heart-wrenching stories about having to go to the food pantry the last 2 and 3 days of the month to feed their kids because the prices have gone up so much. People aren't forgiving the Biden, Harris, and Slotkin. They've been there for the 4 years. They've helped cause the problem. She voted 100% with this. People are starting to wake up and think, you know what, I just can't take this anymore. And so, listen, I would work with anybody, but the problem is you can't use their agenda and justify another 4 years. You just cannot. And so they're not talking about issues. They've spent the last 6 months with false negative ads. And what we've found is that false 6 months doesn't make up for 6 years of bad policy by my opponent and certainly 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration.
I know when you're in your time in Congress, you were chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. I'm just wondering if national security has been playing a large role. I know economy, immigration are probably 1 and 2, right? Economy, immigration, and all the polling. But is national security and the Biden administration's handling of whether it's Ukraine, Afghanistan pullout, Israel and Hamas, is that something that outside, we were just talking about the Muslim American contingent within Michigan, but outside of that group statewide, is national security something that is a drag for the Democrats right now, or is there not much of a focus on it beyond the implications of the border and national security?
Yeah, not a big topic. I mean, obviously, I spent a long time dealing with all of those issues, including how we recontain Iran. It just doesn't come up all that often. I mean, when you can't put food on your table, when these EV mandates are just absolutely killing our automobile industry, people are thinking about, hey, I'm going to lose my job here. I don't even know if there is another job to be had. Those are the kinds of issues that people are just really focused on. Now, the border at least allows us to talk about the broader implications of national security threats. Just because of the fact that a porous, wide open southern border is dangerous for ISIS terrorist groups who have infiltrated and are in the country, other groups of Russians, the Chinese males, others that we know are up to no good in the country. We have got some huge problems, and we talk about it through that lens. Though they see the world, they know it's messed up. I think pretty much most people starting to realize that, hey, we didn't have that problem when Donald Trump was president. And you look at the things that this administration has done. I mean, right away, they went in and told the Saudis, you can't go after the Houthis. They took the Houthis off the terrorist list. This is the Biden-Harris administration. They gave Iran the ability to sell oil on the market. And you can just draw a bright red line right to October 7th from all of those decisions, funding of Hamas through Tehran, the funding of Hezbollah through Tehran, the funding of the Houthis through Tehran. All of that cash, all of that training has resulted in the chaos you see in the Middle East. I think most people look up and go, yeah, that's the Biden-Harris team for sure.
Mike, I got married in Birmingham, Michigan, in Oakland County. I know it is oftentimes, that's where my wife went to high school, a big swing county. Couple of part question here. How is early voting looking? What should people know in Michigan about that? Two, if you could pick any county in Michigan to know the final results for, would Oakland County be the best bellwether in your mind, or where should people be looking in Michigan to try to glean what might happen?
I think it's a combination of counties. Saginaw, Macomb, and Oakland are good bets. And then Kent County right on the heels of it. So Kent County shifted a little bit blue on us the last election. We think we've worked to get that back. Oakland County has slid blue over the last decade, but Macomb County, where's the Macomb or the Reagan Democrats got its name, is now a pretty bright red county. So we look at higher numbers in Macomb, decent numbers in Oakland, try to win Saginaw by a slim margin and keep control of Kent. And if we do those things, we're going to be a member of the United States Senate come November 7th or 6th. Yeah. Where are we again? It's
November 6th. So what about early voting? We were talking battleground. People listening to us in Michigan right now, what are the rules on early voting there? Would you encourage people to be out and about? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, we encourage early voting. Now, what I think a lot of the pundits nationwide are going to get wrong is they see early voting tends to favor Democrats. So we see an early push of Democrat early voting that wouldn't surprise us a bit. We see that in a place like Wayne County, which is Detroit and Detroit suburbs. And so that does not surprise us. And we're looking at those numbers and saying that's tracking, even though the number is down from 2022, meaning less Democrats are coming out and voting early voting. And then outstate, we look at those early voting, the ballots that have come back, and it's trending our way. There's a little more Republicans. Now, if that holds for this next 2 weeks, that's a really good sign for us because Republicans tend to vote late. And so we're encouraging them to vote early. We want them to vote early so that we can focus our resources on finding those Republicans who haven't voted the last 9 days of in-person voting. That's the time that we'll ramp up, picking up the phone, calling people saying, hey, you really got to go vote. We need you, or knock on their door. And so, or text them to death. And so all of those things can go away if you vote early. That's kind of our promise to them.
Hey, Mike, I'm just wondering if there was any blowback that you've picked up on the campaign trail, talking to folks or in the polls from Gretchen Whitmer, unfortunately, the governor of the great state of Michigan, with the very weird handing the Dorito to the podcaster in what a lot of Catholics viewed as an affront to communion. Are you seeing people that are recognizing that the Democrats within your state are a little cuckoo? How did that go? How did that go over?
Not well. So about 20 to 25% of our state identifies as Catholic. And so when you have Catholic bishops showing up kind of on their own on a Sunday to pray and protest on about that what I thought was a mockery of Christendom and certainly the holy the communion, the Holy Sacrament. It has left a mark. And so you take the ethnic communities that are here, Chaldeans, who are Iraqi Catholics who fled persecution in Iraq. When you look at Albanian Catholics and Armenian Catholics here, this is a really big part and staple of their family life, their community life. This was a complete slap in their face. And I think they're going to pay a price for this. And the mockery was when she apologized, she basically said, well, I'm sorry you don't understand my humor. That was her apology, that you all are just too stupid to understand that it's okay for me to make fun of the Holy Sacrament. It is really quite a tragedy just about how anti-Christian the Democrat Party of today is. And I think, again, people know it. They see it. I was in a part of the state yesterday, not overwhelmingly known to be Republican, but people were coming up to me and just one after the other, like, "Hey, I'm not really a Republican, but I'm voting Democrat this year." I think there's going to be a punishment vote from what you saw the governor do.
We're talking to Mike Rogers. Last question for you, and certainly we encourage everybody to get out and vote for Mike Rogers in the state of Michigan, help to take back what had been a Democrat Senate seat. How much variation do you think there will be between the Trump vote and your vote? In other words, how many split ticket voters are out there? Certainly your opponent is trying to appeal to a Trump voter who might be willing to split ticket there. What does your polling suggest in terms of your connection to Donald Trump on the Republican ticket?
Yeah, I mean, we track this pretty carefully. There are Trump, not sure about Rogers voters. And then there are Harris, definitely won't vote for Slotkin voters. And so that second group tends to be more of an independent group. And we've been talking to them for months. We think we are going to do very, very well with that crowd. Our Trump voters, that gap has closed. In the most recent poll, we had closed that gap. And actually, we're a half a point ahead, meaning we've kind of closed the Trump gap. People know that President Trump needs a Senate that actually will be willing to, get his nominees through and work on his agenda. And so that part seems to have closed for us. I think this is going to be the biggest put your jersey on and go vote election than we've seen in the state of Michigan probably in 30 years. People have, made up their mind. They're not going to go down and do 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. And by the way, that happened before. As a matter of fact, that's how I got elected the first time, by people crossing over. They voted for Al Gore for president, Mike Rogers, by the time they got down to the congressional seat. And so that, big ticket splitting, I just don't think we're going to see that much ticket splitting this go round. They're going to vote their economy. They're going to vote the border. They're going to vote EV mandates, and then they're going to go home and hope for the best.
If people want to vote for you, what's the website? How can they donate? What should they know coming down the home stretch for people out there in Michigan?
Yeah, I think the stakes of this election are high, and I don't think that choices could be any clearer. You're either going to have more job creation here in Michigan or a lot less under the Democrats. You're going to have lower gas prices and grocery prices under the Republicans or higher prices under the Democrats. You're either going to get an end to this crazy EV mandate where the government tells you what kind of car to drive, or you're going to get a car that you can go out and buy and afford. And all of that in a border, by the way, that is secure and not that wide open border. That's the choices in this election. We need your help. It's going to come down to 20 or 30,000 votes in Michigan. You can go to Rogers, ROGERS, for Senate.com. Love to have you there. Any little bit helps. We've been outspent 5-1. We're tied going in the last 2 weeks. So every dollar makes a difference. This would be the time to get engaged. And if you're listening from Michigan, get engaged now. We hit 40,000 doors last weekend. Unbelievable. We've never done that before, and we're just warming up.
Amen. Get out, vote for Mike Rogers. Certainly Michigan is one of those states where on election day, especially in the north, who knows what the weather might be, get hooked up right now. Team at Leaf Home Gutters, busy this time of year. Leaves are falling everywhere. Get hooked up right now. They manufacture the popular leaf filter. This will take care of you up on that ladder. Maybe you're looking around saying, what in the world am I doing? Why am I up here in the wind? Why am I up here in the rain? What am I doing trying to clean out my gutters? Wouldn't you like to take care of that once and for all? You can protect your home, never clean out your gutters again with Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. Schedule your free inspection up to 30% off your entire purchase at leaffilter.com/Clay and Buck, all spelled as one word. You can get, again, 30% off up to it if you go to leaffilter.com/Clay and Buck just in time for the fall. End all of the gutter cleaning once and for all at leaffilter.com/Clay and Buck.